Hello and welcome to the tutorial for the new FDOT District 2 Level of Service Reporting tool. This tool was developed to allow the user to more easily explore and access level of service information. While in previous years the information was packaged in conventional static PDF reports featuring maps and tables, the new tool is interactive and web-based, which allows you to on the fly query the data and create reports, views, and tables as needed. So the goal is that by the end of this tutorial you will be able to navigate the tool on your own and to get out of it what it is you need. To get started, you just navigate to the DOT Level of Service homepage, which contains information for all the districts, and you go down here to District 2, and once you're there, District 2 has information and documents linked here, as well as the link to the actual tool. So once we click here, we get directed to the landing page of the LOS tool. We're not going to jump straight into the tool. We're actually going to look at the navigation guide, which is a good source of information for everybody who hasn't used this system before. And it essentially tells you in detail and in pretty easy words how to navigate around the map, how to use the mapping tools, how to search for locations or search for features by attributes, and then of course how the reporting functionality in this tool works, and finally how you can create custom maps and graphic markups on your own. So this is all part of the navigation guide. And I will show you those things, of course, in detail during the demo. So let's get started. We start with a view of District 2 and the associated level of service network on top of the base map. We can simply zoom in and out and pan around using the mouse, just like in any other mapping system that you are using, Google Maps or Google Earth. It's the same concept. But additionally, we have tools here on the upper right. So we have the interactive mapping tools for switching the base map. If you're more interested to have the arrow background, you can simply change that by picking one of the available base maps. What you can also do, this tool allows you is to measure distances. So you select this tool, you click on the map and go from here to here, and it tells you the distance for this segment. You can do that fairly easily. You can bring up the overview map, which shows you relatively where you are in the district, and it's also linked to the actual main map. So if you zoom out, so does the overview map. These are features that bring you back to the initial view, which is nice if you played around to get back to the default value. And over here, this is my favorite tool. We can zoom into any area on the map, and this little guy is essentially the Google Street View. So if I click on this and then set it down somewhere on the map, a new window opens where it actually brings up the street view like in Google Maps, and you can pan around and you see the view shot of the little figurine on the map. It tells you which direction you're looking in. You can enlarge this, and you can of course exit this again. So this is a really cool feature if you need to see the conditions on the ground, and it's right in here. No need to jump out and go to Google for that. On the left, you see the map legend. You can change the transparency in order to make the line work come out a little better. And there are only a couple layers in here. So it's the level of service layer, showing us the level of service for each segment from B through F, and underneath is the a layer that shows us the strategic intermodal system. So you can easily tell which of the roadways are on the SIS and which are not. So this is essentially the data available in our tool, and we can go back to the default extent by clicking up here, and I show you now the next tab available on the left here. It's location search. So if you're interested in a specific area that you want to find on the map, for example, let's look for the University of Florida. After typing it in, well, the map zooms straight into Gainesville, shows us where the campus is and how the roadways around it in Gainesville are. Another way to search is you can actually search the data by attribute. So, for example, you're interested in a specific roadway. So you can select the roadway field to query, and let's look for State Road 224. Type this in, and the map zooms us right into Clay County, into the State Road 224, which is 3 segments in this case. In order to see which one it is, you can have the tool highlight the segment on the map. You can see how it jumps, and it tells you which segment it is. So this is a nice way of navigating the map by attribute search. Sometimes you might get the roadway ID instead of the actual state road name. So you can do this as well by putting in the roadway ID, and I just happen to know that roadway 7406000 is the stretch of State Road A1A and 200 in Nassau County going to Fernandina Beach. So we can again highlight the specific segment, and the description is right here, and it tells us where on the map the segment is. So now we know where the segments are, but we also want to know the attributes of segments. I mean, that's the whole purpose of the tool, to see what level of service are associated with the segments, and what volumes and so forth. So you can easily get there by clicking on any segment in the map, and what will happen is that the tool will bring open the map information. So it brings you the segment description, from to some information about the roadway ID, as we queried before, mile plus information, directionality, posted speed, and so forth, as well as the level of service relevant features, starting with existing conditions in 2015, and then in 5-year increments up to the year 2040. So this is displayed over here on the left pane. You might want this exported from this view. You can create a PDF summarizing these attributes for you, or you can export it to an Excel table. If you do this, you will see that it is exporting it in a spreadsheet. So here you have your attributes for this specific segment of State Road A1A. And finally, for the selected segment, you can also create a level of service report, and this is actually giving you a preview of what we will be talking about shortly after this. It's the level of service report. So on the fly, you can see the progress down here. It created this PDF of the segment report for me. So the report is compiled out of a map showing the segment and the adjacent area. It gives us general information about this segment in this block, and then down here in matrix format, it gives us the level of service features like number of lanes, peak volume, and the peak level of service for the years 2015 through 2040. So this is available through this dialog. And as you saw, we were brought into the level of service section here on the left-hand side, and here we can also directly create reports in a couple of different ways. The first way is we can create reports by a selection by county. Let's say we want the level of service report for all of Baker County. So we select Baker County, you see the map zooms straight into Baker, and we can print the county report. So the tool brought up the report and opens it in a new tab, and it has a cover page. Then it has the glossary associated with it, which tells us about a little bit of background and then the attributes contained. It has an overview map of the county, and it has inset maps for the city. and then it appends the individual segment reports similar to the ones we just created. So this one contains all segments that are contained in Baker County. You can save this to a PDF, you can print it, you can email it, whatever you'd like to do with it. But sometimes you don't want the entire county report. So similar as before, you can select a segment, in this case in a drop-down, and this is the segment we have currently selected. And we can report the attributes as I showed you before, or we can create the report just like this. And it's rendering again on the fly. And here's our report for this segment of State Road 121. Sometimes you would like to select not just one segment or an entire county, but a custom selection of segments. And for that, you can switch to the map selection feature over here, and you just drag selection area, and you can see highlighted on the map as well as listed here on the left. We have now 4 segments selected, and we can create a custom report for these. So if I hit on create a selection report, the tool renders as you can see, and it creates a report consisting only out of those 4 pages. And depending how many segments you selected, it might take a little while. In this case it's 4, it shouldn't be too bad, but there it is. So we have reports for the 2 segments of I-10 that were selected, as well as the 2 segments of State Road 121. So now you have the 4-page PDF of those 4 segments. So this is a pretty neat feature, and allows you to create custom reports as needed. We go to Reset Map. That means we zoom out to the default view and turns back on all the layers and symbology it was before. And I show you another functionality we built in, and that allows you to create custom maps with markups that you might wanna add on the map yourself. So you can zoom in anywhere on the map, and if you wanted to, you could add some text on the map. And I'll just show you as an example how that would go. So I'm selecting this to put on the map. You can see it, put it right here, and in the next dialog underneath you can then create a custom PDF, create PDF map, and this might take a minute or 2 depending on the speed of your connection. Here we go, we can look at it. Here's your letter size map that you just created with the text that you entered in the map, legend, scale bar, everything there, and you can just use this to email to somebody, to stick in a PowerPoint or whatever you'd like to do with it. This pretty much summarizes what this tool is all about, and if you have any questions or need more information, contact the DOT website or get in touch with the District 2 Level of Service Coordinator Amira Zaid in the urban office in Jacksonville. Thank you.